I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping up top, which is to say that in my initial video, I did mean to mention that while this channel will primarily focus on the DC Multiverse line and all its sublines by McFarlane, that will not be exclusively the stuff that I cover. At some point, I would like to cover things along the lines of Marvel Legends, maybe some of the other McFarlane stuff, such as Spawn figures, Mortal Kombat figures, potentially even further out there stuff that I might have collected over the years or continue to collect, such as the unfortunately no longer existing Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures, some Dragon Star series, Dragon Ball figures. But again, primarily we will be looking at DC Multiverse stuff. Just wanted to put that out there that will not be my exclusive topic or topics that I will be covering or subject matter that I will be covering. Additionally, I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who did check out and not only checked out the channel, but subscribed and commented. I really appreciate it. If anybody, likes the channel or likes the content, I appreciate any feedback, even the bad. Let me know what we could be doing differently. And yeah, aside from that, let's hop into the review. Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever Not Toys review, where we review toys that apparently are not toys, depending on who you might ask. Today we're going to be checking out Mirror Master, one of the latest releases from the McFarlane DC Multiverse line, specifically part of the collector edition, along with a couple of other Flash rogues and baddies. And yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so first we're going to be kicking things off with the star of the show, the Mirror Master himself. You guys might be already familiar with this packaging, but just in case, for anybody maybe new to the line, this is what you can expect to see. Here's the barcode if this helps, just so you know, if you are looking for the platinum, unfortunately the barcode is still the same. You think by now they would have maybe figured out a way to at least differentiate it to make it easier for us collectors, but McFarlane's not really in the habit of making things easy for us, is he? One thing you will notice is that, oddly enough, and unfortunately this is a recurring theme with the line, is while it does feature some really nice artwork, you'll notice it's not the Mirror Master in the box. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this might be a New 52 or DC Rebirth design. Again, nice art, but I feel like it wouldn't have been too hard to find art of Mirror Master himself. That said, we've looked at him in the packaging. Now let's get him loose and show off what he's got. And there we have Mirror Master in all his very, very smug glory. I do want to say right off the top that it was way harder than it should have been to get this guy out of his plastic and cardboard cage and to fit his second mirror-based gun-like weapon in his hand. Things that I really think, if they haven't fixed these issues by now, I don't think McFarlane's going to bother, knowing that he's at the tail end of his run. That said, it is unfortunate, the plastic ties, the tape, the overly hard plastic on the hands, making it borderline scary trying to fit a weapon in and out. I mean, what can you do? That said, I mean, I'm going to be real honest with you guys. This is a beautiful figure. The oranges and greens, I'm not sure how well it's coming across on camera. I don't know if the lighting is doing it justice, but the bright orange, the dark green, it's just, I mean, this is like textbook, or I guess I should say comic book supervillain perfection, right? I mean, this is exactly what you would look for in a villain. The face, I mean, I do unfortunately have a little bit of slop on the paint, on the borders of the mask and where the mask ends and the skin starts, but man, that sculpt is fantastic. Look at that. I don't know how aware you guys are with the character of Mirror Master, but trust me when I tell you, if you read any single comic book featuring Mirror Master, he's very likely to make a face like this. He's just a very scummy individual. If not, I definitely highly recommend the episode of Justice League or Justice League Unlimited that he appeared in. He's very good in that. I mean, he's just a great bad guy. Sculpt wise, those of you who've been collecting for a while, you'll recognize that this is the Speeding Bullets buck rather. It works. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the unnecessary added textured lines that he's got running up and down the side of his arms, legs, and torso. I don't mind. I think it adds a little bit of something to these costumes that these figures have, just to, add a little bit of detail without going over the top. Unfortunately, McFarlane does have this bad habit of over detailing certain figures and under detailing others, but I think this is a pretty perfect balance. It's not all reuse. I mean, obviously, this belt, along with these, I'm not really sure what these are. I mean, I would imagine they're holsters for his weapons. Not really sure what else they could be for. Those are new. The head sculpt is new. This piece up here is new. I'm not too sure about the boots. I don't know if these are new or not. Somebody sound off in the comments. Let me know if they recognize at least the shoe part of the boot. Whatever it is, it's very nice, whether new or old. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to reuse, this is exactly the type of stuff they should be doing. A little bit of old, a little bit of new, but results in a brand new character that we didn't get before. Let's be honest, we probably won't get again. I don't know if Mattel is the kind of company that would release a Mirror Master. If not, I'm really grateful that McFarlane has, even with his flaws. In relation to the weapons themselves, really nice sculpting. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I mean, they look like mirror guns, or whatever the appropriate name for these weapons would be. But in kind of typical McFarlane fashion, it's just plain plastic. There's no, nothing. It's just whatever the mold was, that grayish, somewhat metallic plastic. I think just a little bit of paint would have went a long way. If nowhere else, maybe just right in these regions, just to kind of give something of a reflective appearance. I mean, I guess it does sort of have that already. I don't know. I just think it would have been so fun if maybe, and this is probably asking too much, they could have just put a tiny little picture of the Flash right in the middle, just to kind of give that effect that maybe he's either trapping Flash in the mirror dimension, or he already has, and Flash is, trying to break free. Something to that effect, I think, would have been really, really cool. Now let's talk the rest of the accessories. Let's see if I can get this guy to stand. Wow, first try. I don't think that's ever happened before. I will be skipping the stand and the card just because, I mean, you guys already know the drill. If you're interested in learning more about Mirror Master, honestly, I'd say go out of your way to do it, just because along with the rest of the rogues, he's a fascinating character and villain, and you won't regret it. He does come with a total of 6 alternate hands. He comes already equipped with the 2 trigger fingers with the naked skin, but he also comes with the gloveless fists, which, depending on the size, you guys might find use for this with other figures. I know a lot of the Superman figures, the fists are comically oversized, so these might be good pieces to sub with those figures. He's also got 2 green fisted hands. I mean, when I picture Mirror Master, I do picture him without gloves. I also don't picture him as much of a puncher, so I don't really know. I mean, you could probably find some use for these. And then if you want him to be wearing green gloves while holding his weapons, you have that option as well. The other thing I wanted to mention accessory wise, I will be doing some comparison slash mini reviews to some of his rogue brethrens, as you saw in the beginning of the video, such as Captain Cold over here. One of the reasons I wanted to do that, actually, let's bring Captain Cold back into the picture, is these are both collector's editions, right? As is the other Rogue in Flash's Rogues Gallery that got a McFarlane DC figure, which is Captain Boomerang, right? While I don't mind that this guy doesn't have alternate heads and or faceplates because they weren't doing that at the time, this is the comparison I wanted to make. This guy costs $5 more than this guy, yet arguably has less accessories. Now, if we're counting each individual accessory, they're probably about the same. He actually might have more. That said, I mean, a lot of these hands, I'm pretty sure most people would probably agree that it would have been better to have alternate faceplates. I mean, it's one of these things that McFarlane does that for the life of me I can't understand, which is going backwards. And it's unfortunately way too common that we're seeing examples of figures that come with less than some of their predecessors, yet we're expected to pay more. And that's really unfortunate. Coming back to this guy for a second in terms of posability, I mean, nothing new here. If you're at all familiar with the Speeding Bullets buck, you know what it can and can't do. A lot of range with the arms. Head, it's a little stiff, but you can kind of get it to do a little bit. I mean, it doesn't look up or down a whole lot, but you get some action there. I mean, nice, as with most McFarlane figures, you know, you can bend backwards really nicely, but you don't really get a whole lot going forward. Otherwise, it's your standard stuff, right? You know, butterfly joints, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, nice articulation on the wrists and ankles, and thankfully it's the newer kind, not those ugly ball-shaped kinds that we had in the first couple years. But yeah, all in all, solid figure. I mean, whether or not I can recommend getting this guy just depends on how much do you like it and how much of a fan of the Flash are you. In my opinion, I think if you're anything resembling a Flash fan, this is a must get. The Flash Rogues, they're not as iconic or popular or cool or whatever as Batman villains, but they're awesome. They're really a fascinating group of quote-unquote bad guys. Each of them has their own sort of reason for being a bad guy, but there's enough there that you kind of empathize with them just enough to, you know, find them interesting, but at the end of the day, you're still looking forward to seeing the Flash take them down. Let's bring in some of his Rogues brethren. And there we have all three official Rogues, Flash Rogues, out of their boxes on display, ready for action. As you can see, they have a few things in common, aside from being Flash villains, which is that there's a lot of reuse on all three figures, but in my opinion, what I would call good and clever reuse. This Captain Cold is using the Page Punchers Captain Cold. And Captain Boomerang, if I'm not mistaken, I believe these lower legs, I think they started with the Grifter figure. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of these two figures, in terms of what they came with and what they can do. Odds are you guys are already pretty familiar with that. I mostly just wanted to get them out of their boxes so that you can see how they all look on display together, which in my opinion, I think is pretty incredible. The other thing they have in common is that they're all sort of in this nice combination of what I would call their classic look with modern touches. You know, it's not quite their really out there crazy new 52 looks, nor their super classic, you know, Silver Age looks. It's what I would say is right in the middle. Um, I mean, if you're not sold just on Mirror Master alone, I think the three together makes him a must get. And maybe similarly with these guys, maybe you don't have them already, but maybe seeing them all together, you know, sometimes the sum of their parts is better or greater than the parts individually. I mean, a lot of fun. I mean, I did switch the Captain Coldface to his smug one just to kind of be in line with the rest of them. I mean, I think they all have pretty much the same look going, which if you know anything about these characters, you know these are pretty spot on looks for all three of them. Captain Cold is the leader of the Rogues, and here's hoping with whatever time McFarlane has left, which at this point is a little unclear just because I believe it was a few months ago that they said they have until 2026, but they never really specified when in 2026. Um, Here, I'm just trying to do a couple extra fun poses just so you guys can see what these guys can do. That said, however long he's got left, I'm really hoping they could kind of flesh out the Rogues. I mean, there's a couple that we need for sure to have what I would call a complete group of Flash Rogues, which is Heatwave, Weather Wizard. I think those would be my top two. This Captain Boomerang is really nice. I mean, I was kind of hoping that the scarf would be wired, but even with it not being, I mean, this is really nice. No, I kind of struck him in a disco pose. I did not mean to do that, but hey, maybe that's what Captain Boomerang is into when he's not Captain Boomeranging. The boomerangs are really cool. To be honest, I'm not really sure how somebody holds a boomerang that they then intend to throw. This way kind of just seemed to make sense for me. Man, I really wish they didn't kill off his character in the Suicide Squad. I know that's a total tangent, but I think that's like maybe the one good Jai Courtney performance I've ever seen, and also maybe the one issue I have with that movie is his sudden death. But he does go out in a very Captain Boomerangy way. That aside, I would like to see them go really deep cut. I mean, if we can get a Trickster, Pied Piper, I'm drawing blanks, but I know there's a couple other, even by Flash villain standards, C-listers that kind of float in and around the Rogues. Yeah, that would just be really, really fun. Really, I mean, at this point, I think I'd be happy with the top. That's who I was forgetting. Yeah, I'd be pretty content if we could just get Heatwave and Weather Wizard. But hey, the more the merrier, right? I mean, the idea of posing all these guys with the Flash sounds like a lot of fun to me. Oh, and I almost forgot. Let's see. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm trying my best. I'm practicing on trying to get these guys to stand without the use of those little discs that at this point I'm pretty sure we're all kind of tired of seeing. But yeah, I think thus far I've been pretty lucky. Yeah, but I almost forgot the special guest star. I did kind of want to make this guy a surprise, but I figured out what the hell. Let's put him in the thumbnail. I believe this is supposed to be the rebirth version of Eobard Thawne, the Silver Age Reverse Flash, the most famous Reverse Flash. That said, he could absolutely pass for Hunter Zolomon because he's got more of a modern look to him. I mean, it is the Flash Rebirth or New 52 build. I mean, they might be the same, but it's that same buck we've seen 100 million times at this point. And honestly, I don't mind. It's a great buck. It has like the proportions you would want in a speedster. He's not overly buff. He's not absurdly skinny. Unfortunately, this guy's got a little bit of black smudge right there. Yeah, he also just came out the box, which is why, unfortunately, we see this going on. But my understanding is a little bit of hot water or blow dryer will take care of that. And these guys just look great together. I mean, this may be a classic Gorilla Grodd to throw in the mix. Let's angle this guy a little bit more over here. And then I do also, something you're familiar or might not be familiar with, but if not, you should make yourself familiar with, is the rogues essentially have rules, so to speak, in terms of what they can and can't do and will and won't do. And Captain Cold is the guy keeping them in line. And one of those things is they don't kill the Flash, any Flash. It's just one of their hardline rules. It's in order to keep themselves situated. So you can even do something fun where maybe they turn on Reverse Flash. They find out either he's planning to or maybe already attempted to take the Flash's life. And the rogues, they're not having that. There's almost a mutual respect thing. Now, what can these three guys do against Reverse Flash? Probably about as well as what they would do against the real Flash. But something tells me they might not win the fight, but it would sure be entertaining to watch, especially on the big screen someday. So, James Gunn, if you happen to catch wind of this video and if you're taking ideas, give us a Flash movie with the rogues, Reverse Flash. Maybe the twist ending is they all turn on good old Eobard Thawne and send him packing back to the future. I almost forgot his incredible accessories, which I'm of the mind that any single Flash figure, or any speedster that is, should come with these. Much like, let me see if I can get this one in there. Wow, that's okay. We'll circle back to that. Much like every superhero or villain with flight abilities should come with a flight stand, which unfortunately it's all too common for that not to be the case. I think every speedster should come with these effects. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. Well, I guess the longer ones should probably go in the leg, right? Yeah, that would make more sense. I've asked people, and people seem to be kind of split as to whether or not they're a fan of these effects because of how they leave these little holes, where you have to plug them in. I guess it just depends on how you plan on displaying them. I personally think even if you display them without the effects, which, I mean, for me, you display this with the effects. I mean, look, without even having put the back piece and the part for one of his feet, tell me that doesn't automatically add a whole lot to this guy. Sorry if the posing isn't quite up to snuff. I mean, I'm relatively new to not just recording and reviewing videos, but also posing. But let's see if I could get this guy to stand like this. Yeah, that's not bad. If I can toot my own horn for a second. Yeah, this back piece, I don't know what was going on. It wasn't really cooperating. Much like the rogues don't really like to cooperate. Yeah, but if it's my call, I think every speedster comes with these. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of the recent flashes, if not most of them, I think the only exception being that reverse flash with a primarily black and red costume. I don't think any other flash figures in recent memory have come with these. They come with those clip-on ones, which unfortunately don't clip on all too well. Man, that is a great looking figure. One of the things I love about characters like this is that on the surface they seem so goofy, like a reverse flash. Oh, what's his thing? He's evil and he's from the future and his costume is the same except the colors are inverted. Like, it shouldn't work, but man, it does. And it was done really well in the show too, unlike some of these other villains. All right, you guys know I couldn't talk about that rebirth Flash Barry Allen without showcasing it. I mean, look at this. However you feel about any one of these figures individually, I mean, I don't know how you can deny that together they look fantastic. As far as what's going on in this little setup here, it's exactly what I described. Reverse Flash got a little too arrogant thinking the rogues were going to go along with his plan. And he's angry because he realizes they turned on him and Barry is going to take off to go do whatever he's got to do and let the rogues handle Thawne and send him packing. Pose-wise, I almost don't even want to move him. I basically took him exactly as he was coming out of the box. Just attached all his little lightning effects. And look, without even the use of the black stand, I was able to get him to stand. It wasn't easy, but it also wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. What was way harder than it should have been is, again, getting all these lightning effects. I mean, the end result is awesome, but it's way... I mean, I can't show it now just because I don't want to move Flash, but those peg holes where you connect the lightning effects, the ones on his forearms, and I think even one of the ones on his calves, it's like they didn't even finish like drilling the hole. I kind of had to like scoop out the remaining plastic pieces just to kind of get that in there. But if you don't have this guy already, there, I picked him up. I'll never be able to get him back standing like this again. But I mean, to kind of bring this video full circle, I mean, this is money right here. Look at this. I mean, however good you think you are or aren't when it comes to photography and displaying, I mean, how do you not want to at least take a crack at putting these guys next to each other, right? You got Barry charging at him head on, and he's got to be faster than however fast, these mirror guns are. But yeah, great selection of Flash characters at this point. As far as Mirror Master himself, if I were to give him a rating, I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to be the kind of channel where I do ratings, but for now, let's say it is. I want to go, and this is all in all, right? This is pricing. This is what it comes with, what it doesn't come with. I think I'm going to go 7.5. I mean, good, not great, certainly not. Oh, look at that. He's up again. Certainly not perfect, but fun as heck, man. I'd be lying if I said he wasn't a really fun figure to have. I mean, even on his own, but when you put him... Let's have him face this way. Put him, facing off against the Flash, hanging out with his rogues buddies. Yeah, man, this is a solid get. Last I checked, he was a little bit hard to find at this point, which I thought was kind of shocking. I believe at the moment of this recording, I think he sold out everywhere online except GameStop, but I'm not sure how accurate that is. I mean, I have not checked in about a day or so. I found him in Walmart, a Walmart where they had 3. When I went back, this was the only one they had left. So he's popular to some degree. So I would say if you're even somewhat interested in this character and you see him, pick him up. If you see him online, I would say order him. Um, the price, yeah, it's kind of absurd. I'm a little bummed out that I missed out on the bundle on the McFarlane toy store where you could have got him, Deathstroke, and Metron at a discounted price, because I think that at this point that's the only way to have gotten these figures, or really any collector figures, without paying. I mean, it's only $5, but it's $5, right? And $5 adds up, especially at the rate that they're pumping out these figures. I also wanted to add, for my first review, I did intend for it to be the new Batmobile from the Batman, the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves vehicle. Unfortunately, my shipment got delayed. It didn't arrive today, and I had this very sophisticated, fancy setup all ready to go. So I figured, what would Batman do in this situation, right? Pivot. So that's where we are. I decided to take a look at Mirror Master and some of his enemies and allies. The other thing I was kind of on the fence about, and you guys let me know how you feel about this. I had 2 options, right? It was either, well, I guess 3. I could have done Mirror Master on his own. I could have done him. Pause. I could have reviewed him with his compatriots from the Wave, right? So Deathstroke and Metron. But I had this idea where, like, look, I know these are older figures, some older than others, but I thought it would be a good way to kind of showcase these, maybe for newer collectors or people who haven't. Selfishly, it kind of gave me an excuse to kind of take them out the box. That said, they are all going back in the boxes, just because for the moment I don't have any nice ways or cases to display them. So until then, they are going back in their cardboard and plastic prisons. So let me know if you guys prefer this method, or if you'd rather maybe solo reviews, or the method of putting them with their counterparts from whatever wave the figure came out with, or came out, whatever wave they came out in. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Again, I appreciate you checking this out. If you happen to like or subscribe, comment, I appreciate it that much more. And I can't stress it again. Please give me any feedback. I can already think of more than a couple mistakes that I made when putting this together. Hopefully the editing will help me out on that end. If you have any requests or suggestions in terms of older figures, because I do have a lot of older figures, pretty much everything, to be frank. For example, when I've reviewed Deathstroke, the plan is right now to essentially do what I did here, but with figures that you associate with Deathstroke. So maybe a couple of Batman, but for sure a Robin, a Nightwing, maybe even a Deadshot or another Deathstroke, just, for variety's sake and completion's sake, right? To see what these figures look like with the figures who in theory you would be posing them with. I'm also going to be posting some posing shots or photography on a TikTok or Instagram. So by the time you see this, those will have been up. If not, they will be up shortly. Again, thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out the video. Hope you guys liked it. And hopefully I'll have some new content for you soon. I'm going to try to get that Batman, or rather the Batmobile from the Batman review out within the next day or 2. And hoping to hit the ground running with more stuff coming at you. And I know this is a very saturated, there's a lot of content creators, a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of people reviewing not just toys, but McFarlane toys specifically, and frankly doing a whole lot of a better job than I am. But hopefully I have something to offer, and if you guys like it, I'll keep it coming. But yeah, from me and Mirror Master, have a good one, guys. Take care.